Alright, what we're going to do is add some seismic reinforcing to some cable rack. What we're looking at here is 3 pieces of cable rack, and we'll look at it in a 3D view. We can see that there are 3 different elevations. Give a little bit of perspective there. You can see the floor. The lower level at 6 foot, the mid level at 7, and the upper level at 8. The first reinforcing we're going to do is between the 2 upper layers of rack. So let's load a family here. Make sure we go to the right library, cable tray supports. Scroll down to the bottom, seismic rack inline stacked. That's what we want. We're going to say open. Give it a second to load. This is a face-based component, so I'm going to rotate this so I can make sure that I'm selecting the upper face, and I'm hit my space bar to rotate, and I think that looks pretty good, so I'm just going to click once there and then hit escape twice. If this worked right, it appears that it did. We can zoom in, and that looks pretty good. Looks like it snapped right into the right position. We'll scroll in here from a right point of view. There's our cable rack, and there's our bracket, and the same on the lower one. Now let's say that this particular cable rack was not at 1 foot below. Let's say that its offset was 1.5 feet, so that would make this elevation 6.5 feet. If we want this to stretch out and meet it, all we have to do is go to our rack distance here, and we'll change that to 1.5 feet. And as soon as we come over, no problem. Go back into a 3D view, and zoom in a little bit, and we can see that our rack is very nicely supported. This particular system as well has the ability to put a vertical rod just simply by clicking this button, and you can see that we get a vertical rod support in there as well for additional bracing. If you don't want that in there, just highlight it, uncheck the box, and as soon as you come back over into the graphic field, it goes away. The next thing we're going to add is a crosswise support. So again, we're going to load a family. Make sure we go to the right library, cable tray supports. Scroll down near the bottom, and we're looking for seismic rack support crossover. We select it, hit open. Again, we wait a couple of seconds here. This is also face-based, and we want to make sure that we're selecting the right part of this top rail. Hit the space bar to rotate it around until you get the right orientation. Doesn't matter that this doesn't snap into place. Click it once, move out of the way, escape twice, and now we're going to have to physically align this. So the first thing that we're going to do is go to the east elevation in here, and we can see that this doesn't stretch down to the lower level like we want. So let's adjust the rack distance first to 2 feet. That's done, and you can see that the bottom now is at the right height and the top is still at the right height. So now let's align. Get that out of the way. It's the most inopportune time. We're going to select the inside of the ladder rack, and we're going to select the inside of that clip, and then we're going to lock that together. Notice how that works out quite well there. Now we're going to go to a north or south, it really doesn't matter, and we need to align our seismic support with our ladder rack again. Remember to pick the ladder rack first, again the inside edge, and we're going to pick this one and the inside edge there. Again, lock that in place. And what we have here is a simple issue. We hit escape twice, Select the ladder rack. The rack width was not set correctly, so we'll set the rack width to 12 inches. Well, again, if it's done right, we select this and we set the rack to 12 inches, and it all works out just fine. Let's take a look in the 3D view. In some cases, it may wind up where there's a rung across. You can move the ladder rack if you wish, or just not worry about it. If we take a look at this in a shaded view, you can get an idea of how this all worked out. We'll turn our vertical rod back on, and everything looks pretty good. Thank you.